Hello, my name is Mike Lyon. I'm the pastor of Family Life at First Baptist Church in Seymour, Indiana, and I'm excited to be hanging out with you for a couple different sessions over the next few days. Today, we are going to be talking about what it looks like to engage students more in a church context and what that looks like for middle school and high school. And that's tricky. Y'all, we all know teenagers and we know they are finicky and hard to connect with. So my hope is that we'll walk through some ways, at least how we do ministry here at First Baptist Church, that may help you. And if you have any questions, I know we're going to get you my contact information here in the video. And feel free to email me at mike@fbchome.org. If you just have any questions or you just want to connect, I would love to hear from you. First things first. Is relational ministry, and I think we'd all agree that we need to get to know our students. We need to be able to relate to them outside of the church walls, and that's the first thing that we kind of look at. Even if we look at Jesus and how he modeled his ministry, yes, he went to the temples, but what we see in Jesus's 3 years of ministry is he took 12 men, he took them aside, he did, quote, life with them, and really poured into them in their natural context, went to meet them where they were at, called them to ministry from where they were at, and invested in their lives. So there's two things we can see from that example of Jesus is one, small is okay. Let's just get this out of the way. Whether you are in a church and you have a student ministry of 2 students or you have a student ministry of 200 students, each and every student is important. We can't get caught up on a numbers game. And Jesus really showed us practically small is better. To invest in those 12 men, knowing that those 12 men were going to go out and invest, and that investment was going to pay dividends down the line. So that's the first thing we want to understand is small is okay, and we want to be relational and build relationships with students. And I just kind of use this model and this understanding, this series. If you get anything out of this session today, hear these words. And that is simply just show up. Just show up. A lot of the students you're going to minister to may have solid families, but the reality is a lot of them do not have solid families. And we want to be there for them, invest in their lives. So remember those words, simply just show up. Make yourself available to them where they're at. Learn to ask good questions. This is important because if you're going to build relational ministries, trust me, and you all know this, asking, how was your day? You're going to get, okay. So ask them, what did you do today? Form a question where they have to give you an answer. Think about, don't give those yes/no questions because that's what you're going to get back. Let's just be real. We have those students that we deal with and we want to ask great questions. How are you going to build relationships with them? Ask good questions. And why we ask questions is because we want to listen. Students today have far too many people in their lives telling them what to do, where to be, how to live their lives, so forth and so on. And not that we don't want to be there to help shape and mold them to be godly men and women, but we want to be there so they know, one, we care and we love them, and two, they know we'll simply listen. I think the skill of listening when it comes to relational ministry is a skill that is far too often overlooked. And it takes no skill to listen other than we just need to learn to shut our mouth. We are so quick because we care and love for them. As soon as we hear part of what's going on in a student's life, we just want to jump in and try to fix the solution or the problem, The fact of the matter is we just need to spend some time and just simply let the students know we are there for them and we're willing to listen. Listening to a student and letting them know that you're willing to listen will pay dividends in building that relational ministry that you're seeking to bridge and connect with students. So let's just listen. Ask good questions, and when you ask those good questions, then let them respond. If they come to you with a problem, don't be so quick to fix it. Just listen. Maybe they have a great solution and nobody's taking time to listen. But make sure they know that you're going to be a sounding board and just not somebody that's going to come in there and try to fix their problems. And the other thing about relational ministry, and I have struggled with this myself, we all want to be, quote, the cool youth pastor, the cool youth worker, whatever that scenario is for you. We want the kids. We want to be the young, hipster-looking youth pastor. I am bald, and I'm not wearing skinny jeans right now, and that is okay. Because to build relational ministries, I'm going to tell you right now, students will see through fake. Students will see through fake. Just be you. God created you perfectly to minister to the students that He's going to place in your lives in whatever context that is for you, and be true to who you are and who God made you to be. You don't have to be the youth worker or the Sunday school teacher that you see doing other things. Don't play the comparison game when it comes to this relational ministry, because a student's going to see fake. They want genuine people that they know aren't trying to fake them out by putting on a facade and trying to be somebody they're not. Be you. Students will love that more. It doesn't matter to them that you're so cool, because cool wears off. But you being you and truly loving the kids as just being you and being real with them, that is going to carry a lot farther than trying to put on this fake facade, because you won't be able to sustain that. You can sustain you. So just be you. Be real to who you are, and students are going to see that. They're going to appreciate that, and it's going to help build those relationships. Make yourself available. The key to this in relational ministry, and this is how I groom my small group leaders, who are all people who have families, who have jobs, who have a lot on their schedules, but I always challenge them with their students in their small group, be available. And what does that mean practically, be available? Because that can mean a lot or a little. Really just being available, and the smallest form of that is, what are you going to do to reach out to that student outside of your program? You're going to be there on Sundays or Wednesdays or whenever you do your programming. And this can be as big as, I'm going to every event that they do. I'm going to go to their athletic events, I'm going to their choir events, I'm going to their band concerts, I'm going to their birthdays. Or it can be, I'm going to try to go to one of their games a season. And I promise you, if you're being real and that kid knows you have a family at home, you have kids, maybe you bring your whole family out to that event, but you just simply show up, make yourself available to something outside of Sunday morning. You go to an athletic event, you don't have to stay for the whole thing. Sit with their parents, connect with their parents. That's building bridges to build relationships. It's showing the parents, one, that you care enough to come out and spend your time to invest in this kid outside of your, quote, what you have to do for your programming. Maybe it's simply sending texts. I know for me, I'm very intentional that I text each and every one of my students throughout the month. It's not a weekly thing, but my goal is to text outside of group communication text, is just a, hey, I'm praying for you text, just so they know I'm thinking about them and I'm praying. And it can be as simple as that, but making yourself available. And then of course that is going to build relationships. So when the big things come, when tragedy comes, they may be able to reach out to you. So make yourself available. And that goes along with just be encouraging. Be encouraging to your kids. That again goes to just showing up and building those relationships. That's sending them a birthday card on their birthday. Yeah, through the mail, not a text, Not an Instagram post, but put some effort, surprise them. Those kids don't get written letters anymore. Send them a letter. Tell them happy birthday, or just that you're thinking about them. Just little things like that that don't take a lot of time, but helps build relationships. So in a nutshell, relational ministry is an investment in your students by being who God created you to be, by building small. So these investments, you can't invest in, if you have a large student ministry and you have even 30 kids in your student ministry, you're not going to be able to invest in all of them. And here in a little bit, we're going to talk about what that looks like. But you should be investing in some of them pretty heavily. And what that means you're building solid relationships with them. So the first thing that I would encourage you to do is come up with a plan to build relationships with your students. That is foundational. Everything else happens out of that, because the relationships builds trust in you to them. And so that when you are sharing the love of Christ with them, they know you're doing it with all sincerity. So build those relationships with students.